Alright, we're back. Let's begin. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen. Oh. I got my chocolate milk and we good. My name is Wesley Stickler. By occupation, wait, I can't go that fast. I'm under the definition I confess whatever, however the knowledge needs. The tan, the blah 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 blah. Oh my gosh, old bag. I'm getting old bad vibes. By which means he says he's a student. A junior of Ivy University, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'm in the Department of Science and Engineering.
I don't know.
Filled with curiosity, with all things, spend my day in pursuit of truth, unhoning mine.
Stickler, please direct and said curiosity to the case at hand today. Very well, Mr. Stickler. Please testify to the court about what you saw the night of the crime.
You ask the simplest questions.
Well, with something about homos and all that, because I couldn't read it all that fast. The night of the park.
That night I passed through the park on my way home, shopping when I saw them. One man pulling the stand, another facing him. I saw him quite clearly. The man facing him, the victim, was the defendant. In his hand, he held, yes, a pistol. It was pointed at the man pulling stand. A shot. The bullet hit the man pulling the stand from the square in front of the forehead.
There was anyone else at the park at the time?
I can say with 100% accuracy that there was not.
The pistol without witness referred to is this. The court accepts it to the evidence. I really need to look at that. I got a knife, the stand, panties! More panties! I need to look at that and the gun. Why don't we look at that now? More panties! Results of the checkup performed in June. Check. Patient talking 19 male reported filed June 14th. Miraculous object was found near the heart. Urgent exam needed. I see. Yes, Your Honor. Oh, Tracy, what are you staring at like that? The witness. That man. I can't help but I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. On the way home from shopping, you say, Why go through the park?
Fascinating query. Revealing me capable of being insufficiently verbose or something. Let us consider the time saved by passing through the park on the way home from the store. In the time that I'm capable of solving 2 gamete problem sets. On average, it requires me, ergo the time the capable of 2, I can't read all this. In case of the question verbal, emitting not M.
I don't know, I have to go back and look at that. That's enough. I get the idea. The court, Mr. Justice, the court hopes to finish the cross-examination sometime this month. Please, I'm recording a book after this trial. And I've got a show to perform. Gee, sorry. You're all so busy. Pulling sand, another man facing him. Were these men talking by any chance?
And now that you mention it, they were. I cannot claim I heard them clearly, though.
Sorry, back scratching my back.
Only fragments, such as you lied to me. Oh, and I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine, pal.
Just as a defendant claims. I believe you wished to teach the victim what he felt like to take a bullet in the heart. If that's true, then this bottle piece of testimony sounds like he heard them clearly enough to me.
May I be allowed to amend my testimony?
What now?
To be precise, he did not say pal, but man. Yes, that was the way of it. I swear my diploma.
What's the difference?
And the other man, who was he? I saw them quite clearly, and the man facing the victim was the defendant.
How can you be so sure it was the defendant? The crime took place at night. It would have been too dark.
Perhaps I was remiss in not mentioning this earlier.
Huh?
You see, in class, I always sit very backmost seat. Do you know why?
Who cares?
Because I do not wish anyone to copy me my perfect notes.
And this how it relates to your testimony, how?
I mention this to illustrate my prescription,
I don't know, I'm blurry.
to that which is perfect. It was dark, you say, yet there was light in the park. If I say the defendant was in the park that night, then he was in the park that night. It was hard to intuit the fact. He shares confident.
He seems to be telling the truth. In hand, he yelled yes to pistol. Are you sure about the pistol you saw this same night at the same as the one you just submitted as evidence? I was thinking about something.
Yes, I'm sure. Surely you just... Or a common witness would tempted to say.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not no common witness. I see only the events as they are, the logical structure governing these events. First, we need to consider the fact that my field of vision due to the object A becomes the difficult to say discern the object A was indeed object A.
I think he means he couldn't see it that clearly. My badge for normal witness.
And the fact that the pistol was fired before my eyes is indestructible. Indeputable or something, I don't know. I can see it when I closed my eyes, the defendant raised his weapon.
Are you absolutely certain this shot was fired?
Yes, of course. If it was one shot, why do you ask?
A contradiction, finally. Mr. Stickler, according to the court record, the pistol was fired twice. Good eye, Air Justice. You're cool, real cool. You really think so? Yet there's no reason why their other shot had to have been fired that night. Meaning? The pistol from the Kentucky family mansion, yeah? I think it's now unreasonable to assume the pistol had been fired once before that night. During perhaps another altercation. He got the point. Judging from his smug expression, I say Prosecutor Gavin had an answer already for you, even spotted the problem. He seems pretty confident in his testimony. He always makes the biggest mistake when we're almost confident. He got a weak point somewhere, Apollo. Find it! Right, better give that testimony another look. If that's all of it, I think I have a chance. Is that you relaxing? I see, Justice. Objection! Once is quite enough, Mr. Justice.
Apollo, pace yourself. The trial's not over yet.
Right. Yeah, look at this. The autopsy report? Is there a problem with the autopsy? Right, a problem. Yes, the problem is the location of the enemy's wound, the entry room. Not enemy. The location? You testified that the killer was shot in the victim, square right in the forehead, did you not?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I have determined your angle of inquiry. Allow me to explain. It's quite simple, yeah? First, understand what you mean by this. For example, the elimination number is something Krypton practice. And the well-known fact that rare, in which point is basically...
Mr. Justice!
Yes?
Was your objection to these Krypton particles or things? This is the big time. You obsessed with something small? You disappoint me. No. No! I'm obsessed with something big. Oh, okay. I mean, there's a bigger, less nitpicky problem here. Do tell. Just look at the autopsy report. The location of the entry wound was... the right temple. Temple? Mr. Stickler, you said quite clearly the victim was shot in the square in the forehead. That's a contradiction, isn't it? Is it right, finally? Add justice. Oh, add justice. Yes? Your tactics are outdated, trying to shake the witness by objecting trifles. Surely you haven't forgotten the fatal wound your master suffered 7 years ago. Phoenix Wright, was it? Ugh. Look, I know the wound was in the wrong place, according to the testimony. No. Forehead? Forehead? Let us imagine you're walking through the park. Yes, you two men facing each other. One with a pistol trained with the other on the other. What would you do, Forehead? Well, I guess I would stop them. I would probably shout, stop. And you, Fairline? Me? Well, I'd probably scream, eek! And you, Stickler? What would you do, shout, I wonder? If the victim turned his head at the last moment.
Yes, thank you for jogging my memory.
The dumb testimony is required. Temple. Oh, I forgot to read.
We're hoping the Crown Killer defendant appeared to have become frightened. Tossing the pistol aside, he fled from the scene.
I see you attempted to stop the crime.
Indeed, with composure.
Well, maybe the criminal wouldn't have fired if he hadn't shouted like that. Well, that doesn't really matter now, unfortunately. Let us consider the testimony, shall we? Observe the diagram, if you would. The witness, Mr. Stickler, was it? Stood here. He shouted on top of the, oh, stop, please, or something like that nature, and the victim responded looking in the witness' direction. If the killer were to have been fired, in that moment, as you can see, the bullet wound would have struck the right temple as well in the report. That does seem the case.
We need the power of the Junior Ivy University Department of Science.
Very well, Mr. Justice. You may cross-examination. No. So you saw the raised pistol and weren't you frightened?
It can only be said we students of Ivy University know no fear. The moment I saw the pistol, my inner sense of justice compelled me to take action.
That was certainly brave of you. You might have gotten shot.
Eh? You were certainly lucky.
If I were in the killer's shoes, I certainly wouldn't have left the witness behind.
Ugh.
He actually looks like he was in no danger. He had no idea he was in danger.
Regardless, I tempted the bloodshed.
In case like this, amongst the two. Are you sure both men were able to hear your voice?
They were, of course. My high, exquisite voice echoed through the park.
And the victim responded to that clarion call?
Quite.
Victim turned to the direction of my voice and shot. Oops, wrong button. I pressed the wrong button.
Indeed, and say about the same time, to be precise.
And did the victim didn't ask you for help?
It can be said that he didn't have time to ask. He didn't even have time to take a single step.
I'm totally sure that the killer fired because Mr. Stickler startled him. Don't say that too loud, Trucy, please. Well... Can you describe the killer's actions more clearly?
He seemed quite surprised, especially considering that he was the one who did the deed. As we can see, the human physiology is tangled, a web indeed.
He simply can't believe what he had done. He shot, he panicked, a common tale, but true.
Unfortunately, before I could take further action,
You didn't try to apprehend the criminal?
it all happened so fast, I'm afraid I hadn't had the time.
Doesn't something about that strike you odd, Apollo? What? The killer was in a hurry, right? He fired the pistol and tossed it right away. According to the testimony, that's what happened. In that case, I expect for something that we didn't find. Find something, find what? I like that contradiction, kinda. Sad to see it go. Not as sad as I feel. What do we do now? At least his testimony is getting a little clearer. She's right, maybe I can find something to use this in a new testimony. Wait a sec.
Another misleading request? If you're beholding your own mode of discourse, you can't see how it affects you.
Come again?
Wait a sec, you say, a sec. As we intend just to wait that single second, use 6 of the minutes. And that's hardly enough time to draw a breath, let alone make a statement in the court.
Oh my god, shut up!
Now that you have asked longer period for the time being, Mr. Justice.
I know that wasn't it. Yes, Your Honor? In my understanding, the objection was the length of a second. No, here, just look at the pistol. It doesn't have a single fingerprint on it.
A common poly made by, a more common, I fear by, the prevalence of television. The criminal these days are loath to leave fingerprints.
Wait, but you just said the killer tossed the gun and ran.
That's right.
He didn't even have time to wipe the gun for fingerprints. Ugh. Ah, little girl sticking it up to the university students. The song is in there.
I'm not little.
Then let's think like adults, shall we, Fräulein? What if the killer, the defendant, was wearing gloves?
Gotta admit, I didn't think of that, Paulo.
Wow. Well, Mr. Justice, could the killer have been wearing gloves?
No!
The record of the murder weapon was clearly one thing. There were fingerprints wide, which means some trace of prints were remained, which contradicts your testimony. Excuse me. If everything happened as you say it did, he wouldn't have had time to wipe the pistol.
But does it not change what I saw? The killer, the defendant. He threw down the murderous weapon from his hand and fled.
Sorry, guys.
And the pistol was found at the scene of the crime, strongly suggesting that this was the weapon he disposed of.
That sounds solid to me. Well there, Forehead. Any of your precious objections?
What gives, Apollo? Let's see the voice training. Go to work.
You know, I've only recently realized something. No matter how much you train your voice, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to say.
What do you mean, nothing to say? Isn't it obvious from what the witness just said?
Huh, what's obvious?
When he restated what he saw just now, he said he saw Walkie drop the murderous weapon. But that's not the same as being 100% sure that what Walkie threw away.
You're right.
He's just confused because a pistol was found at the scene. Poor Mr. Stickler. It must have been hard to be perfect yet so wrong. Well, it can't be said that I'm quite offended. Well, if it is indeed the anxiety nature and the babbling poem, I may something.
Well, what we can say for certain that the killer and the witness saw the killer throw something. Does the defense have anything to say about this?
Well, what if he threw wasn't a pistol? Then it had something else.
At least one person in the defense team seems to be thinking. I'll wipe that smile off your pretty face, Gavin. Ooh, you like? Perhaps you can inform the court in the nature of this something else. What did the killer throw? Panties! Is this a sword? I saw one of those or a late night movie last night. Gray, a sleep-deprived judge. The knife was found at the scene of the crime with the defendant's print on it. His prints? This single piece of evidence proves the important thing. One, that what the defendant threw wasn't a pistol. Two, the defendant wasn't wearing gloves. Indeed. Forehead, you're forgetting two other things you just proven. One that the main witness saw was the defendant, Mr. Wakikataki. Two, the defendant was holding a knife with the intent to harm the victim. Indeed. Never underestimate Gavin in this lesson here. The court's opinion to the witness is fond of making assumptions. In that light, I believe it would behoove us to hear what really occurred. Less assuming, please.
It is always the same with you people. Marked the house on the foot and the 5-minute ladder of this brother left after him. How long would it take for Mark, the brother, to catch up to him? Assuming that Mark never had to stop for traffic lights. Assuming, yes, that's what I said, assuming. As for that, we're a probability situation and all. Yet you're assuming that my assumptions is no better?
The court will be assumes that the witness will testify to what happened after the shot was fired. Okay. Oh, we're close. Oh, I believe in the next one will continue this. See you guys then.